Thank you for joining in today. So we will be continuing the quiz application which we left yesterday in the midway. So I have made some changes also in the code. I will just explain those first and then we will continue with the code. So I have created here a database helper instead of local DB class that this is also doing the same thing. Just we have changed few things here like the initialization process of a singleton. So here we are, this doesn't, this means a private constructor. We are creating a private constructor for this class database helper, and then we are creating a static instance, static and private variable for this class. And then we are creating a getter for this instance, this one. For this private variable, we are creating a getter, which is checking that if the instance is null from like this syntax means if this is null, then initialize it with this one. So this is the shortcut. Let me write the easy way. So it will check if underscore instance is equals to null, then database helper dot. So this thing. So here also you can see that it's giving the suggestion that I can replace it by null aware assignment instead of writing this as a if statement. So it will just check if it is null. It double question mark in null safety in Dart means uh, default value. So it will check and assign the default value to it. If it is null, it will assign this value to underscore instance. And then we are returning the instance, knowing that it can't be null because we are assigning a default value to it. So it will return instance, not a nullable field, only the database helper. So then we have a static getter for database underscore database, and we have static field for database, and then all for that initialization of this database also we are creating a getter here, and whenever we call this one, it will check for the null. If it is not null, it will return directly. Otherwise, it will call the init database, and then we will return the database instance like this. Then inside the init database also, we are doing the same thing. I already showed this previous day. It will get the database path and will join this database path with this one. So this is the default path we are getting from the whatever OS we have, Android or iOS. And then after this path, it will add quiz database.db. After that, it will join and will give us the our database path, which is for this quiz database. Then we are opening the database because it's an initializing the database function. So we are opening the database, giving the path for that version for the DB, and we can provide we can have pass functions to it when the database is configured, when it is created, when it is upgraded, or when it is downgraded, or when it is on open also. So right now we are just giving the on create. We don't need to handle there are not many uh, basic examples for this on upgrade on downgrade. So for the simple use case, I've just used this on create. So I'm creating the tables when the database is created. So subject table, we have subject table, then topics table, then quiz table, then questions table, and then the options table. So I already showed this, but we'll show it once again. Sorry. So one inside the subject table, we have, I can show the contents here itself, like ID, name, then the topics have ID and name, and it is linked with the subject table using the foreign key like this. And then we have quiz table, which is inside the, so I wanted to have a list of subjects one subject can contain a list of topics, one topic can contain a list of quiz, and then one quiz will have multiple questions, and one question can have multiple options like that. And the questions table I have kept like question ID, which is linked to this one, and option text, and is correct, which is a boolean. So finally, I want to have, I can also demo this here. I have also created the UI part here. I will explain. So this is the uh, subjects list. I have mathematics, science, history. So inside mathematics, if I go, I have topics. I have algebra and geometry. If I click on algebra, I have two quiz, linear equations quiz and quadratic equations quiz. So if I click on this one, it will go to the question screen, which is not implemented yet. That's why it's showing a blank screen. So we will be focusing on the options and how the user can click on the options or one of the options, select on one of the options, and then will get the results out of that. So we will do that now. I will explain the UI part first. So these are the normal functions, just written the operations queries and created a functions for that, different functions. So this is very simple. I'm not going to explain the functions here. You can check that. And if you have anyone have any doubts, you can just chat, or also in the GitHub repo you can raise the request. So the main functions we have here are this these four, which will give us the filter results, which we will be using in the UI, which is get subjects. We are taking subject ID and subject name, and accordingly the queries are written. Then accordingly these four other threes are also written by getting the ID of the previous one. So suppose I have list of subjects. I want to see the list of topics inside this subject. So what I will do, I will pass the subject ID in the next screen, and from that subject ID, I will fetch the list of topics. So that's what exactly I'm doing here. In the function also, it is taking the subject ID as a required parameter. Others are like optional. We cannot we ignore also. So using the subject ID, it will fetch the topics accordingly. Then let me go to the, similarly other two functions are written. So now I have the screens here, code for the UI. So right now I'm using a single file only. We can split it later on. So we have home screen, topic screen, quiz screen, question screen. So in the home screen, we have taken a use state subject list, which is a use state. So using the Flutter hooks. This is already explained in the previous class. So from the subjects list, I am the first of all I am getting the subjects, all the subjects using this use effect, which is replacement of the init state. So inside that I am calling this get subjects, and in the get subjects implementation, I am just using the database helper.instance dot get subjects function from this one, this function which I showed just now. So it will fetch all the subjects and will return, along with the few other parameters which I have kept, like topic count and quiz count. That's why I'm able to show this here. So I got the list from there, and I'm just updating this value, subjects list. So I have written subjects list dot value equals to whatever list I'm getting from here. So one more thing we can do here is like we we have seen that we can create model classes and convert it to the Dart objects instead of using the this kind of like getters, map getters. So I haven't done that. Let us continue with this now. If we get some time, we'll change the implementations here. So I have the subjects list.value here. So according to the subjects list, I am creating a list view builder here. In the item count, I have given the length of subjects list.value. So always remember, we can't use subjects list as a list. It is a value notifier of list. So we need to get the list using value. It is a getter of, if you see here, it is a getter of the whatever type we have given. So we can pass the type here. If not passed, it will take the type as whatever default value we pass here in the use state. So this is the default value passed here as empty list. So that's why it took the type as list, but it's preferable to write the types wherever possible. So wherever, because suppose if I have one more use state here, like not users list, but I want to have a nullable integer nullable field. So for that, I can create final, suppose index equals to use state, and I want to have the default value as null. But the if I don't provide the type here, the problem is use state will take it as value notifier of null instead of index int of nullable, because it doesn't know what kind of value I want to put later. So for that, I need to provide the type here, int nullable. Now this is correct. So I can put the type of integer, override this value, the value of this index later on with the integer value. Also, this is final. We are not changing the index. We are changing the value of that. That's why it is final. Value is a index is a value notifier of type integer. If we go to use state, we can see we have here. This is a bit complex, so let's ignore this one. So we have the getter value getter. So using that, we will get whatever the value currently it has. And also when we want to change the value of it, just need to write subjects.value equals to this. Then inside the item builder, I'm getting one subject by doing this, so that I don't need to write it every time wherever I want to use this particular subject, because inside item builder I want to use only that. I want to fetch, suppose I have list of subjects which is maths, science, and then I have history. So I want to get this, and then whatever id, like whatever field inside that I want to get, I can just use this subject variable. I'm just getting it in a sub variable so that it's easier to write later on. So just doing that, subject list dot value a list, and then the particular index. So I got the subject. Then I'm this is a gesture detector. So suppose sometimes we don't want a button actually, but we want clickable feature. If I click on this, I don't want this to be a button, but want to make it clickable. I want to handle the on tap, on pressed thing. So I can wrap it with, there are two widgets for that. One is gesture detector and one is inkwell. So if I wrap it with gesture detector, it won't show any splash kind of thing. If I tap on this, you can see there is no splash. If I can also use inkwell. The difference is, the basic difference is like it gives the splash kind of thing if I use inkwell, and there are more differences, like gesture detector also gives any kind of gesture detection, like if I'm dragging something or I'm swiping, or on like there are many fields here. If we hover over this gesture detector, I can see on tap down, on tap up. These are also in the inkwell also, but there are many more handlers here, gesture handlers. These are all gesture handlers, and this will accept a function. So we are just using the on tap here, this one. So if someone taps on this one card, I want to go to the topics route and pass the subject ID here, so that I will fetch the topics list according to this subject ID. So for this one, I have just made a simple container and some padding and margin, and then we have three text fields here, three text widgets here. The first one is showing the name, then the topic count, and then the quiz count inside this subject. So now if I go to the topics screen, if I click on this, I will go to the topic screen, and then let us go to the screen of that. So I'm accepting a subject ID, and then the same implementation here as well, getting creating a value notifier for topics, and then get topics inside this use effect and updating the value. So here I am here is, well, it's very similar from the above. Like in the UI, there's not much difference till the quiz screen. So here also I'm taking the topics and showing the values from that. The name, quiz count, quiz count, and question count. Then again in the quiz screen, I'm doing the exactly the same thing. I'm taking here topic ID and then getting the quizzes from the topic ID and showing the values accordingly. Title, question count. This one. Then we have the question screen here, which is not implemented yet. I will be doing it on the way. So now it comes to the routing part. How we have done the routing here. So inside this bottom nav route, we had the home route and account route, which we created previously. So I want to have this navigation inside this home bottom navigation. So I just put those routes inside this uh, type typed stateful shell branch for the home, and inside that we have a routes parameter. So I put all the routes type to route inside this. We have the topics here, quiz here, and questions here. Topics route, quiz route, and questions route. If you see the classes here, so we are we have created the constructor here in all the routes and taking whatever parameter we need and passing on to the screen. One thing to note here, we can only pass, I will write it at the top. In any typed go route, we can pass only the primitive data type. Or we can say we cannot pass user defined. As the previous one was correct, sorry. Let me change. Basically, we can pass string, integer, double, float, or we can pass also the list, but we can't pass map, which is hash map, or for Dart it is known as map. Then the user defined classes. Like if I create a model class for subject, I can't pass the subject directly to a route. There's a way, there's a hack for that. I can convert it to string. User, I have a user model, suppose. I can do it like this. User. This is created. I can pass user.toString because this is many times needed, but we can't do that directly. So I have figured it out, like we can convert it to string while passing, and when so the thing is, let me go. So suppose instead of topic ID, I want to pass a topic over here. Instead of ID, I want to pass the whole topic here. And that for that I have the model class, topic model class. So I can accept a string here like this, final string topic this dot topic. And then over here I can do, we don't have a topic class over here, so let's just create one topic. We don't have any field here. I will just keep this topic dot from JSON. We also have topic dot from JSON. And I will simply return. There's nothing else. I'm just creating a dummy class here, dummy model class. So here what I can do is I can JSON dot, I can use JSON decode, JSON dot decode, and inside that I can pass the topic, which is of type string. I will pass the string and I will get the JSON, and from JSON I can get the topic. I can do like this, topic dot from JSON, and inside that I am passing the, because it's not accepting here anything, that's why it's giving the error. But if I do it like this, so I can have it like this, and if the quiz screen wants to accept the topic, I can directly pass this one. So I need to convert it first to the string and then convert it back to the topic, whatever model class it is, to that using the from JSON. So this is the a trick kind of thing. This is a limitation for Go router or any type safe navigation mechanism which we have in like packages for Flutter. So I am removing this extra field over here. So now we will be implementing the quiz like question screen where the user will be selecting. So I have thought of it like this. The user will have question over here and then multiple options, which is a checkbox. So the user will select all the questions, answers of all the questions, and I also want to make a stepper kind of thing over here, like which will show how much progress I have done. Not stepper, but a progress indicator I want to show, which will show how many questions I have. Suppose I have 10 questions and I have entered the answer for one, so it will fill 10% of this indicator like this. And then I want to have a button over here which will say next or submit. Based on if it is not the last question, it will say next, and if it is the last question, it will say submit. So let us do the implementation over here. I have the single child scaffold inside that single child scroll view inside that column. Now, first of all, it's a good practice to type like give the comments for whatever UI we have decided. So first of all, we should plan how the UI we are building or whatever the design we have, and then just split those in the parts. Like I can think of it, it will be a column first of all. Inside that, it will be a text here. Like I want to keep it in a row, inside a row, or may not. Then we have a list of columns. So this will be a list view. So I know that I can't fit the list view inside a column or inside a, which is inside the single child view directly. So I will wrap this list view, not wrap. I will keep the string wrap as true for that, and also the physics as never scrollable physics. Then I will have a linear progress indicator widget here. Then I will have a button over here. So this is very simple, but if the UI is complex, then this commenting thing is very helpful. I will just split the. I will just give the not make the components over here. I will just give the comments like question text. Then we have options. Then we have progress indicator. Then we have next button, and then we will write the widgets for that. So here, let me check the value how I'm getting first. Okay, so if is this visible? Let me zoom it a bit. Yes. So this is my list I'm getting. I have printed it to get the keys, what key according to what keys I can access the value. So I have question ID, question text. This is the question and the correct option ID. Okay, one more thing I need to get here is the options list. So I will just create the function for that. It is not created. Let me verify the table name first. It is options. Okay. So I will also do the get options function here. I will create a options list also. Then here get options instead of get questions. Here I need to pass the question ID. So for that I need to create one more variable here, which is the which will keep the index of the ID of the selected question. So if I am on the first question, it will give me the ID of that question. So I will make one more value notifier here, selected question ID. Because to use it, this is not a list, this will be of type integer nullable. Default value null. So I will give here selected question ID dot value. And if this is not null, it will return. So I've just added a check for if this selected question ID dot value is null, then I will return. Otherwise, I will get the questions list. Sorry, this is not the questions list. This is options list. And for I want to get the options every time when the question changes. So I will create one more use effect over here. I can have as much as I want. So I will create get options, and the dependency for that is, so you know that we need to pass the dependency of this whenever this if I give the selected question ID dot value over here. So whenever this selected question ID dot value changes, this use effect will be called. This part will be called above whatever there it is written above this get op this written code, this written line. So if I would have put this why I have done this another in the another use effect here. The reason is if I have done it here get options, so it will do the get options only for the first time because it is not dependent on any value, and I cannot put this selected question ID dot value over here because it will then do the get questions every time whenever I want to get options. That's why I have changed it. Like when we have the function calls dependent on, like they have the different dependencies, we can create different use effects for that. Now let us see if this works or not. One second. I will add the app bar over here on the top and copying. So also when I'm getting the questions, I will set the first index of this from this list, question list, as the selected question ID. So I will just check if the question ID question list is not empty, and then I will assign that selected question ID dot value is equals to question list dot value dot first. First is a getter. We can also do it like this dot, not dot, but this. And then when I change this, it will also call this get options due to this use effect. I think I need to add a breakpoint over here to check if it is calling or not. Like this, we can add the breakpoint over here and we can check whatever value. It will stop over there. When this line executes, it will stop and I can check whatever value of this line is. Okay, so we can see that get options is getting called. If I continue, okay, this is the mistake I think. Uh, get questions. I have received the questions list here, and somehow there is some issue in this line. Let me debug it. Okay, so I think I need to use question underscore ID instead of this one. Okay, I've got the question ID here, and then again the get options is called. There's an error in the SQL. Let me change that. I need to stop the screen share for a minute. I need to get the open my Skype once. I'm stopping just for a minute. Is my screen visible again? Please anyone confirm if my screen is visible again. Hello. Uh, Tanmay sir, can you please confirm if my audio and video is okay? Okay, thank you.
Yes, your
Yes, your
audio
audio
and video is
is
perfectly all right.
okay. Thank you for confirming. So I have got the options list over here. The query was wrong. So let me zoom it. So these are the options. I'm getting option ID over here, option text, and correct option ID is also there. So I think correct option ID we don't need in the option from the options table. So I will just remove that, or let's have it. We may not be using that. So let us build the UI now for this screen. We have all the things now. First of all, I need to show the question. So the key for that is question underscore text. So I will show write a text over here. Need to remove the const first of all. Then we have questions list dot. Right now I'm giving the hard coded number as 0 to get the first one. We'll change it. I need to write questions list dot value, not only the questions list. Then here we need to have some kind of way to show one question at a time, and also not to use hard coded things over here, so that like no matter how many questions we have, we can show that next like that. So I can create a page view, or I can also create animated container here, and this is nothing but a implementation of container itself, but it can change the animation, like it has the animation and we need to provide the duration for that. Or one second, let me try it first the simple way and then we will change it. First of all, we need the next button so that we change the index. I will write a material button over here. Child will be text, which is next. So here, as I mentioned earlier, I need to have a condition over here. If it is for the last question ID, I will submit that. So how can I check if it is the last or not? I will write here questions list dot length is equals to some the current index. So we don't have the current index kind of thing, current index variable right now. We need to create that. I missed the value again over here. So let us create the current index. Again, the use state. Current index means the current question index. So let me write it elaborately. Current question index equals to use state of null. Oh, sorry. We already have this selected question index ID. Sorry, let us use that itself. So here we will write not the length. Instead of, I will get the last one over here, and from that I will get question underscore ID. If we have the question ID, we can just match it with the selected question ID dot value. So sometimes it may not give the error, but we need to make sure what we are matching it with. So this will give me an integer, and this is a value notifier. So there's no matching. If we not write value, so that's why I mentioned that we should use the model classes. If I would have used the model class, it will give me the error if I don't write this one. So I will change the implementation later on to use the model classes. Let's continue with this now. And in the on prist, I will just add a to do over here for now. Increase the current index. So I see a problem using the question ID instead of current index is uh, we won't be we can't use like easily increase the selected question ID. If I have selected question ID, I don't know what's the current index. I need to get the current index inside the list and then increase. So for simplicity, I will create the like that's the better way to have a current index over here. So we have two we can say like kind of pointer to which question we are. So this is for current index in the question list, and this is for question ID. And we will update both of them when we are inside this get question. One of them selected question ID we already overridden this. Current index also we will change it when we get the question as 0. So why am I not initializing this with 0 over here? Instead I am doing it here because the question list may be empty. So for that case also I'm considering and initializing that with 0 after only after checking this as is not empty. Also, if we initialize it here, it will give the error because we are getting the question after some time. We are awaiting for that. We are not getting it instantly when we come to the screen. So, but this use state will be initialized instantly when we come to the screen, when this build method is gets called. So that's why if I I would have give the value over 0, default value as 0 over here for the current index, it will try to get the 0th index value. Whenever we try to get the 0th index value, it will give the error. So this is the reason. Now, uh, instead of this, I can do current index dot value. So there's one more thing that I don't want to show any UI, or I want to show a loader until till this current index is null, because we are initializing that when we are getting the, or also there can be like other conditions as well, that I want, instead of checking the current index as null, we can also do question list. that it is empty list or not. So we can wrap it with a widget. I showed previously we have a way of rendering the widgets conditionally using the if statements. If I write over here that if current index is dot value is equals to null, not equals to null, then only render this widget, and then I can use this one exclamation sign over there. This will not render. It is not taking any time to update this one, so that's why we can't see it. But this is one way. But we also have one more way using the widget itself, which is visibility widget. And here's a condition visible. So if I pass false over here, it will not render. If I pass true over here, it will render. Render means it will show that widget in the screen. So I can pass any condition over here. I am passing question list dot value dot is not empty. If it's not empty, I want to show this child. Also, we have a replacement field over here where we can pass the what to show when it is loading. Like when it is false, when this one is false. Is my screen not visible? Please try to rejoin if the screen is not visible for a single person. Is it okay for everyone else? Please confirm once. Okay, then I'm let me reshare it. Sorry. When did it stop to show the screen? Is it visible now? Is it visible now?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, thank you. So, uh, like when did it stop? Should I repeat or should I continue from here? I just wrapped it with a visibility widget and provided the condition for visibility here in the visible parameter over this. I wrapped the column widget with the visibility widget and then passed that if the question list dot value is not empty, only then render this widget, this column. Otherwise, I have a replacement field over here inside the visibility widget. So if this is false, like question list dot value dot is not empty, if the value for this is false for this condition, then it will show the replacement widget instead. So I'm passing a progress indicator over here. I don't think it will be empty for more than a second or like more than 100 millisecond. It is very fast because we don't have much data over it. So I will show that by adding a delay over here. Okay, when we use this visibility widget, it doesn't work like exactly like the if condition. So that's why it's like it is not rendering the code widget, but it is executing the code. So that's why it throws the null exception. I haven't checked it and used this one. So let's have here as like 0 for now. Let me comment it for now. Okay, this is also giving error. The loader is there. So actually, I showed the this visibility widget in the wrong example. So for this kind of places where we don't want to execute the code also, then we have to use the if widget, because when we use the visibility widget, it will hide the widget, but will not like it will execute the code anyways. So I will just remove this, widget, and instead I will wrap with one more column over here, and then I will add the condition, because before this child also I can also use the tertiary condition over here like this. Uh, 1 second. Questions list dot value is empty. If it is empty, show the progress indicator. Otherwise, show this. So this will not even execute the code when it is empty. This will not execute this code. So now I am uncommenting again and need to remove the const. I can also give the null check over here. If we want to like confirm this, that this is also not null, this won't be, but still we can also add the check over here. This is the or operator over here. I want to use the and, is not equals to null, sorry, is equals to null, and this should be or, because we have reversed the condition that if it is empty or if it is this one is null, we will show the progress indicator. Otherwise, whatever we have. Let me change the cross axis alignment first. Enter. And also for the material button, I will add a minimum width. I want this to be full width. So for having full width, we have something as double dot infinity. It is whatever maximum we can. So we can pass that to wherever we want, full width or full height, those kind of things. Double dot infinity. I have the loader here. Then I am getting the question. And when I click on this next button, it should increase the current index, the value for the current index. So I will just put plus plus over here, and it can't be unconditionally called. So let me, okay, also this won't work even if it is not nullable. Like if it is only the integer, still it won't work. I wrote it by mistake. We need to assign it using equals to, then only it will update. Similarly, how we did it for the state notifier provider, we used to write like this: state equals to and the new state. Similarly, here also it works the same way. I will use current index dot value plus 1. Here I can use this exclamation sign. Or here I can also use the plus plus, but I need to assign that again to the this thing. So if I click on next, it is changing the button. Okay, I realized that we also need a previous button over here. So I will wrap this with a I will wrap this with a row widget over here and duplicate this widget. The first one should be named as previous. And here we don't need any condition. Yeah, sorry, we need a condition that if the question ID with the first one, like we can simply use the current index over here instead of this long uh, condition. Current index dot value is 0. Then sorry, the condition won't be for the text. It will be rather then like it will be in the on pressed. If the current index is 0, then we don't want any we want a disabled button over here. So if we want a disabled button, we can just pass null in the on pressed. If you see null on pressed accepts a function void of function which is nullable. So if we pass null, what happens? It will show a disabled button. Also here we can write previous, and instead of a body function I will write a arrow function over here so that it formats better. And here we want to change it the condition according to the current index dot value. But let's keep simply this one. Now the buttons are not visible. The reason is I have put the min width as double dot infinity and wrapped it with a row. So it doesn't know how much width to take. Here this row will try to shrink the width, and this material button is telling to take whatever possible, whatever maximum we can have. So there's a clash between that. That's why I hope that there's also the exception over here which we can see. I will try to show the issue what comes. Yeah. So if we have some this kind of errors like render box was not laid out, render flex needs repaint need this kind of hash size. The main keyword is hash size. So if this kind of error comes in the debug console, then it means we have done some mistake in laying out the widgets. Like the issue is with the sizing. So and that will happen mostly with the scrollable widgets or the this layout widgets like row, column, and those widgets stack. So say that it has size but cannot calculate that kind of thing. So this is the assertion which we get from this row widget. They have the framework's code. So I will just need to wrap both the buttons using expanded. So it will say it will divide the calculate and give the width accordingly. Because we can't say here that wrap it with a size box and say okay 200 pixel for this one and 200 pixel for this one. We don't know the like width of the screen. Even if it know we can know there's a way, but we want to make the UI responsive. If we give 200 pixel to both, but there's a screen which has 360 pixels or someone has 500 pixels, so it won't be responsive. So we won't be giving this kind of widths, mostly the widths as the constant numbers. Instead we will be using this kind of techniques. Here we put the double dot infinity and then wrapped with the expanded. So because this is the first index, our because of our condition, it is disabled now. If we see we can see the difference over here between the enabled button and the disabled button. It will the default way is to change the color. We can also override the default color over there. We have a parameter for that. Sorry, disabled color. This one. Disabled color, disabled elevation, disabled text color. Disabled color means the background color of this button. Disabled text color means the text color which is for now it is gray, like that. Then I need to have a linear progress indicator, and here I can pass the value. If I don't pass any value, it will show like this. Instead of circular progress indicator, we can also use this if we want in few places. Uh, but if we provide a value over here, suppose 0.5, it will stop at 0.5 like this. It will be static like this. Uh, Now I want to provide the value according to this current index. So mm, I will get the current index. Need to remove the const over here, and we'll divide that with the uh, length of the list. Question list dot length dot value dot length. I can use this any everywhere because inside this part, because I've already checked it. So now if I do next over here, it will increase like this. But I think there's a problem. Question, this is 0 by, so I need to do +1 over here. Or maybe this is okay, because as we want to show, like, it depends on us, that we want to show uh, not done for the current question or done for the current question. So this is on the first question, which for which I haven't selected the options. So it will be in the 0. If I selected the answer and do next, it will show that I have done 50%, which is 1 out of 2. Simple. There are many more parameters over here for decorating it, like color, background color, and value color. So I'm not showing those things. We need to provide the uh, normal colors for that. There's one thing for that I may show, which is for value color. We need to provide, if you can see here, it takes animation of color instead of directly the color. So if I want to provide the value color, I can't provide a colors dot blue like this. So we have like always we have some classes. As for the physics, which we have seen that never scroll level physics or bouncing scroll level physics, we have classes already made. Here also we have always stopped animation, and inside that we can pass the color. So for this I wanted to change it to blue, so it is now blue. I can also give the height, suppose not 10, maybe 6. Yeah, this is better. So I will wrap it with a padding. I give the padding from all the sides as 16. Now I want to show the list of options. So I will do list view.builder. First of all, the, because we are inside a single child scroll view and then column, so I will pass the shrink wrap as true. If we only had the column, then we could have used the wrapped it with expanded, but we have single child scroll view. So this is a scrollable widget, and inside that I want to expand something, so that doesn't make sense. So we will use shrink wrap as true, and then physics as never scrollable. Then we will pass item count. What will be the item count? This is the list for options. So we have options list dot value dot length. Now we have the last thing is item builder. So we'll pass the function for that and then build the item. So first of all, I want to show the uh, I missed the comma over here, so it's giving error. I want to show the option text. So let me check what's the uh, key for that. It is option text only, option underscore text. So we have text widget, and I will take the option, create a option field variable over here. Option equals to options list dot value and index. So I don't need to write that again and again. Option underscore text. I have this auto save in my VS Code. That's why it is as I'm writing, it is like reloading again continuously. Auto save and auto reload. So, but if you don't have those settings done, you need to click on this button to reload. I will share that the settings part in the gist in the GitHub repository. I will share that. Decoration. Okay, so actually I don't want a container over here. I want the checkbox. So let me create checkbox.adaptive. Few widgets have this adaptive constructor. It's not directly calling the checkbox constructor, it's calling the adaptive. I also have the normal constructor, but I have also have the name constructor for adaptive. It is for adaptive widgets. Like for iOS, it will render a different kind of UI, and for Android, it will render a different kind of UI, which are native to those platforms. For iOS, we have different kind of loaders, so that's why we have adaptive over here. If you have seen it, it didn't show the uh, loader, normal loader. It showed a Cupertino loader. So those are the differences. If we wherever we have this adaptive, we prefer to use that. So now checkbox takes. There's nothing difference if you use adaptive. There's nothing difference in the parameters over here. It's just for the styling differences. So for the value, mm, it will take a boolean, and then on change, it is asking for a function. So first of all, we come to on change, and right now I'm giving it as false. Instead of checkbox, there's also one widget is a checkbox list tile. In that we can provide the label and all those, not label, sorry, title. So in the title, I will provide option and then option text. So the default thing in this checkbox list style is it will show the checkbox in the right side. We can, if we want, we can change it to the left side. There's a field for that. I forgot that thing, but we can change if we want. And this is the default widget provided by the Flutter. We can also create our own implementation of this. So let me use this widget from my another application. Just 1 minute. I will create that widget in another file. Inside this code, we don't have the folder. We'll just create app checkbox dart. It's nothing. It's a custom made widget. It's just a row, and inside that expanded. Then we have the text inside this expanded, and then we have this checkbox over here. So instead of this default checkbox, I will use my custom widget. Here I can pass this name, option text. So now we need to have a list of selected options. Like suppose there are two questions. This is the first one. If there are two questions, I need to have a list of like whatever the user is selecting. I need to keep the IDs, option IDs of that, so that I can match it later on. So I will create the selected options equals to use state. This will be a of type list, so the default will be empty list. And then when we are getting the question list, I will just change the list value to be the like this. Suppose I have two questions, so for that I need to have two options or two selected options for that. So when we are getting the question, I will just create a list like this, null and null. So that's because I won't be adding when I go to the next question. Instead of, I will be changing the value in that index. So to create this one, I can just write selected options. I'm removing these print statements. So this is a way, but like I I can have sorry. Suppose I wanted, I have two questions. I can write it like this, but I don't know how many questions will be there. So I will generate this list instead of writing manually. I will generate. I I will write list dot generate. This is a constructor in the list class. So length I will be getting from questions list dot value dot length, and then we have a generator function over here. First I passed the length over there in the first parameter, and then we are passing what to generate for every index. This is a generator function. I'm getting the index, and according to the index I can generate, but over here I only need null, no conditions based on the index. So we'll just write this. Suppose here we can generate a list of uh, like this 1 2 3 4 serial numbers. We can write it as index. It will generate this kind of list. So for now I need a list with null values. Then select, I will change the value inside that. I have the question index here. This is the current index is for question. So I will write selected options dot value, and I want to change the which index, current index dot value, to have this exclamation sign. And I want to put the what I want to store. I want to store the option ID. So what is option ID? I think I need to check the field for that. It's option underscore ID. So this is it. is change. Okay, sorry, I directly put this here. When will is change will be called? It will be called. Suppose if I click this one, is change will be called. But which option ID I am taking? Mm, 1 second. Yeah, this is correct actually. But we need to add the condition over here. Like if value is true, then only we need to update this. Like we need to store that option, update this option ID in the list in our list. Because if it is false, then we don't want to store that. We want to convert it to null. So suppose I clicked on this one, uh, because I have false over here, that's why it's not changing. To get the status, I just need to have selected options dot value dot contains this option ID. If it contains this option ID, then it is selected. If I click on it, it won't change. Why? Because we are only doing this for the proof. Like when I click on this, it if it is not selected, it will give me true. So I need to change this accordingly to make it true. It is selected. Otherwise, I should make it as null. So in the else part, I will change it to null so that it is unchecked. If I clicked it by mistake, I want to change it again. One second. Let me print few things to debug. Let me remove the delayed thing from here. So now when I click on this checkbox, value true for option ID 1. Click on this value true for option ID 2. I should also print the selected option list after updating this. Okay, the problem is if you see it it changes when it's reloaded. So if I click on this one and click on this both of them, it should change. This one should be ticked and this one should be unticked. If I click on reload, it's working like this. So if I click on this one, so it's working. But the problem here is it's not updating when I'm clicking. When I'm not reloading, it's not working. The reason is we have list in the use state. So this will not occur a re-render because if you know, I don't know which languages have this same thing. I think Python has. So if we modify the value of a list, it doesn't changes the field variable. Like in the memory, I won't be able to explain this in detail, but it doesn't changes the state over here when we change the list. When we change the string or when we change the integer, those things, it the reference changes, but for this it doesn't. Sorry, the value changes, but for this one it doesn't change. It is the mutable state kind of thing. So that's why we need to do it like this: selected options dot value equals to, let me write it up in a cleaner way. So we need to create another list from this selected options, and then we need to update that list, and then need to insert that inside the selected options dot value. So if you see there, it's a similar way. We were doing current index dot value equals to the new value. So similarly, for this one we are able to change the state, but we are able to change the value over here, but the state will not change because of the same reason. So I will create a list dot from selected options dot value. I can name it as new selected options. So I got the new selected options, and then I will change that here. And I need to put this new selected options inside my use state. This one inside my value notifier. Also same for the below one. So instead I will initialize this in the after this if else, and also will take this before this if else, so that we don't need to repeat that for this if else part. Okay. So if we click on x equals to 2, what will be the answer there? 4. It will be x equals to 2. Then I do next. It's also selected over here. So this is an issue now. So I need to change the condition over here. This one status, because it's checking if this list contains this option ID anywhere. But I need to check for this current index dot value. So I will not use contains over here. Rather, I will check the value for that current index. Is it equal or not? Not equals to, but double equals to, because we need to verify it is equal or not assigning the variable. So if I click on the first option now for the first question, click on next, it is now working correctly. Y equals to 2x plus 1. So x equals to, what is the slope? Suppose I'm selecting the second option for this one, and for the previous one. There's one more issue that whenever I'm clicking the previous button, it's giving the issue. So we need to check that. For now, let's complete the above implementation first. Okay, we also need to add this condition over the submit button, that if it's the last index, we should not increase this. So, sir, can we take a 5 minutes break now? Just for 5 minutes?
Yes, yes, please, kindly.
Okay, sure, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. I will join in, like, I'm there, but I'm muting for now for 5 minutes.
Okay. 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 Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I am back. So let's continue. So I think we left on the issue that we were facing on click of previous and next for the last one. So for the next, we will simply add the condition over here. If current index dot value is equals to the length of the question list. So actually here in Dart we can simply instead of if it is a one liner we can have it directly without the curly braces. So let us see if this works or not. Okay, I found the issue. I understood the issue. The thing is, we are taking it with the here also we need to change the condition. And for the current index, when it is zero, the last one should be the length is not one over here. The current index is like zero and then one, but the length is over here is two. So it's not matching over here, and it's just executing this line of code. So I can add minus one over here or plus one over here. So it won't work now. Or I can just use this thing that it is disabled now. Let so I will place this one for the next button also, and we'll change the condition to be this. No, I think we shouldn't disable this because we should be able to submit it. So this is right now not doing anything. I want to do something. I want to submit this one. So what happens? So I'm just giving the comment over here. Let's submit the quiz. And also for here also we will change the condition to be this one. We'll copy and paste here. Now it is correct. And for the previous it is giving the issue. So let us check that one. We have already disabled if it's the zeroth index. So let's see. Okay, sorry. The previous should decrease it, not increase it. So it was a silly mistake, but okay. This is disabled. If I click on it, nothing happens. Next, I click on this. If I click previous to the previous one, and if I click on next, it will come to the. So let's also see if this one is working. Yeah. So for the first question, the first one is selected. For the second question, the second one is selected. And I think it would be better to have this progress indicator as till the last to the last when it is in the last question. Or we can just animate it to the completion when we click on submit. That's also a way, because it will be it will not make sense to show it half when we are on the first question, or any value over here when we are on the first question. So let us animate this to complete, not animate, but just fill it to complete when we click on submit. Right now it's dividing, it's taking the current index.value and dividing it with the questions list. I can extract this to a use state. Let me do that so that I can override that from anywhere. Progress.value. I will have a use state for this as, and the default value will be this one. But here the thing is, we can't have current value dot this as not null. So we need to add a tertiary condition that this is not null. If this is null, I will simply return 0. Otherwise, I will provide the default value over here as 0. The name should is progress. So what I have done, I have extracted that condition, the calculation from the linear progress indicator to a use state, and before using current index dot value and using the exclamation sign for null aware, I'm checking that it is not null. Like if it is null, I'm just returning 0 as the default value. Otherwise, this one as the default value. I think uh, I I'm not sure this will work or not. Let us check first. Then we will see. So we need to provide the value, this type also here. It is taking the type as num right now. What is num? Num is nothing but the parent class of integer and double. So maybe this won't work because it's the default value. I haven't tried this kind of thing, but let's see. Yes, this is not working. So we need to update it when the current index changes. So I will cut this one from here. I will provide null as the default value. No need to check any condition, and we'll have a use effect. I can have that over here, current index dot value. No need to have this both the conditions because both are same. Selected question ID dot value. This selected question ID will also change when we change the question using next or that. So I can remove this one. I will get the options every time the current index value is changing, and also I will change this progress dot value equals to this one, and then let me just confirm once that are the options correct or not. Yes. Give me 1 minute. I'm just verifying something. Okay, so we have one more issue over here. Let me complete this one. We'll come back to this again. Okay, what was the last thing we were working on? This that when it is when I click on submit, it should complete it. First of all, let's see if the progress is updating or not. Yes, it's updating. So when I click on submit, it should complete this one. Progress.value equals to 1. So this progress value takes from 0 to 1. If we go to this one value, it takes from 0 to 1. Whatever, suppose if I pass 0.1, it will take 10% of the total bit of this progress indicator. And accordingly, whatever we are passing here, it takes as a like a percentage. And then so that's why to complete it, we can also pass the current index, this thing, like we can also use the length of the question, but it's easy to we want to complete it, so I'm just giving it as 1. It will take the full. Now the next thing is, I doubt that the question options are correct, so let me check the query for that. Get options. So the problem is this and condition over here. I think equals to. Let me print the question list once again so that we can see if we are getting the correct question ID or not. So for the question, we are getting the correct option ID here, 1 and 3. And for the options, let me see. Selected question ID is somehow not updating here. So I think, okay, we need to update that when we are clicking on next. We haven't done that. We are increasing the current index. Maybe the selected question ID is not needed. Let me try commenting this and check. Instead of this selected question ID, I can simply use the current index maybe. Let's see. I have the questions list dot value, and the current index dot value, and from here I can get the question underscore ID. Before that, I will just check if the current index is null. I will return that from this function, and then I can use the selected question ID. Now, when the current index changes, I'm fetching the options, but maybe I'm not getting the correct result. Let's verify that. I got the question and the options. So the current index is right now is 0. If I click on next, yeah, now it's updating. If you see, for the previous options are x equals to 2 and x equals to 3, and for the next slope equals to 2, slope equals to 1. So for both of them, the answer is first one. But let's see what we are getting in the options is correct. We are getting correctly or not. Then we will complete the logic. So for the first question, the correct option ID is 1. And from the options list, we can see the correct option ID for 1 is x equals to 2, which is correct. And then we have for the second question, correct option ID is 3. So let's see what the option ID 3 is. Option ID 3 is slope equals to 2. So we have the correct ones. So let's implement the logic now. I just checked it to so that I can select the correct ones and can proceed accordingly. Now I will just call a function over here as submit quiz. I haven't created it yet. I will create the method here. Future of void submit quiz asynchronous function, and here we will be taking the input as list of IDs, which is select selected options, and we also need to match it with the correct option ID. So for the option we have one second. So let us collect this correct option ID in a list. Like we have two questions, so we will have the list as 1 comma 3, and then we can just compare both the lists, the list passed and the list for the correct option ID, and the list which the user has created, which is the selected options list. This one, where is it? This one, selected options. This one. So I will take two lists over here, one for the correct options and one for the selected options, and we'll just check over here that check which are wrong. I need to pass first of all when I'm creating one more list. or rather than creating the list, I can just directly pass over here and making it as a named parameter so that there's no confusion when I'm passing those values. Sorry, give me a minute. Someone is there. So I need to open the door. 1 minute just. Sorry, I'm back. So I will pass the correct options. Options. I will collect the correct options first from the questions list dot value, which is a list, and I will collect here uh, using some functions. Let me see. I can use the map function over here to iterate over all the values, all the indexes. I can just collect E and then the correct option ID. Then we'll again convert to list because this will return me a iterable. What is iterable? It is nothing but like it is a kind of list we can say. Suppose if you are iterating over a list, then that is a iterable. So we need to convert it to a list because we are accepting here list, not iterable. We converted it to list. Then we have selected options. So we already have the value notifier for that. I will just pass selected options dot value. For this one, I will just explain again that I am iterating over all the like all the elements, and for every element, I am getting the correct option ID and creating it as a new iterable and then converting it to a list. Okay, so now we are at the submit quiz function implementation. So I need to compare the both the list. So for that, I can run a loop on any of the list because so first of all we can do if correct options dot length is not equals to selected options dot length, we can just say that selected options dot length, we can just say that you haven't filled all the fields. Okay, one second. Show snack bar. I think I forgot to take this code. Let us write the whole thing. Snack bar scaffold messenger dot of context dot show snack bar. Here I need to pass the snack bar. The content will be text. Let me extract this first because we will be writing this again and again. Message show snack bar. We will be taking build context in the parameter. Sorry, not the build context, the message. Because in the previous class I showed that we can have the context from the navigator key. So I will just access the root navigator key, which we have in the app router here. Root navigator key. We have created a global key of type navigator state, and then we have used it inside this our Go routers navigator key. This is mandatory, otherwise we can't get the current context. Okay, we also have a getter over here, so I can just simply write app router dot current context. If app router dot current context is equals to null, I will return, because if the context is null, I can't use it here, and I will use the exclamation sign. So from if the length doesn't matches, suppose the correct options are like correct options means the list of questions we have for every because for every question we are getting the question option ID, correct option ID. So I will return show snack bar with a message that uh, you haven't. Okay, one thing here that when we are writing strings, suppose when I am writing like this, I need to write you haven't. So for that, I need to give this single quote again inside this. So in Dart, we can use single quote inside the double quotes. If we are not, if we don't want to use the escape sequence, escape characters like this, we can use this one also. But for only by the quotations, if you want to do, we can write single quotes inside the double quotes or double quotes inside the single quotes. Or if we want to write like any characters or in like any number of lines, then we can use triple single quotes like this. Inside this, I can write anything. It will be like raw text kind of thing. I can write single quote in this. I can write double quote in this. Anything. So it is like a raw string. For that also we can write multi-line. If we do multi-line over here, it will give error. But if we do triple quotes over here, triple single quotes, and if I do it in the next line, it won't break like this. So let me undo this thing. And after showing the snack bar, I will just return from here. You haven't selected answered all the questions. So there can be different business logic, but right now I'm considering that we have uh, all the questions are mandatory. There can be like the question is optional, so we can store that in our table accordingly, and then we can confirm here for every mandatory questions. It is we have the option filled or not. There can be different conditions. There different logics. I'm going with this one right now. Also, we haven't considered the multi-select. For multi-select also we can do like we can in the question we can give a field for column for that is multi-select kind of thing, boolean, and then when we are rendering the this options, we can just render it accordingly. If it is multi-select, we can just check over here inside this item builder. If it is multi-select for this question, we will just render the app checkbox. Instead of app checkbox, it will be like radio buttons. Sorry, not radio buttons. It will be checkbox only, but it will be multi-selectable. So let us go with this one now. Now we will be we can run the for loop inside any of them. So I will prefer the correct options list dot length. For every index, I need to just match if the value is equal or not. And if the value is not equal, I just want to keep a like note or keep the values to show in the next, like how many options I missed or in like marked incorrect. So I will keep a count for that. Incorrect count equals to 0. We can take for any of them in either for the incorrect or for the correct, and then minus it with the subtract it with the length of this we get for the other. So now if the correct options dot I is not equals to the selected options dot I, then we will increase the incorrect count. I think that is it. Incorrect count. Then after that, the last thing will be navigate to the next screen, to the results screen, where we will pass the incorrect count. We can also do it like this, that we pass the incorrect count, how many how many questions I have marked incorrect, and then also which questions I have marked incorrect. So just to make it a little bit informative, I will add that list of sorry, not, I don't need the type. What should be the variable name? I think wrong answers. So for the wrong answers, I will also check. I will keep the list over there. Add the list of. I can add wrong answers list dot add. Let me think about it. I need to add the. I can add question, but I don't have the question. So let us take the question as well. Required list questions list. I think I want to add the question and the value selected for that in the single variable. So maybe I can do it like this. Question list. It will be a map of string comma that question. So like this. Selected option, whatever the value I have selected. Selected option, and maybe we can also add the correct option for that. I think we are good with this. So now let us create a new screen for results. For now, I'm creating it here only. We'll change it to, we'll place it in different file later on. It will be a, let us take stateless hook widget, hook consumer. Okay, that is also okay. Mm, Results screen. Here we have scaffold, body, safe. We don't need safe area because we will be giving the app over here. Single child scroll view first of all, then child, and then column. Then we have the children's. So inside the children, I just want to show the stats. First of all, I will take the input over here, incorrect count. Then we will have mm, wrong answers list.
Hello, Mr. Ayush. I think the screen is not visible. Maybe I'm having some problem. I don't know. Hello. Are you able to hear me? Hello.
Is it visible now?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I think I had some problem. I don't know.
Okay. Uh, I have put a poll. Please, if you can, just is it visible now? Please, you can share your response here in the poll.
Okay.
For someone, it is not. It will be helpful if everyone just share their vote here in the poll. So if for someone it is visible, I think you can for whoever it's not visible, you can rejoin once. Please leave from here and then again click on the join button. Okay. I'm continuing then. So again here I will have the shrink wrap as true and the item count we have, and we have physics as never scrollable. Also, this never scrollable physics should only be used when we don't want the list view to scroll, because we already have the single child scroll view here, which will give the scrollable feature. So that's why I'm using this one only wherever we have something scrollable outer. Then we have incorrect. We want to build the list for incorrect questions, wrong answers list. So I will put the length for from that. I just want to show a container which will have a column, inside that a children, and in the container we will have some padding and margin. Suppose both of them is age insets, like from all it's 16. Then we have text. I want to show the question and then the answer marked and the correct answer for that. So I will write it like this. What I'm getting in each index, I'm getting these three fields. So I will get the question first of all. Let me do it like this. Final uh, item equals to wrong answer list dot index. Then I can access it using item. Item dot, sorry, not dot. It will be question, and then inside the question it is question text. Let me confirm this from the above screen where we were showing the questions. Yeah, this is question text. Then we will also show the uh, what was it? selected option. So here's the problem. We will be getting selected option as ID here because we are passing the ID. We can pass the option from here. So for that, we need to get the list of options instead of selected options and correct options list. So let us show the ID only for now. We'll change it later. Selected option and the correct option. And let us change the style so that we know which one is the selected on, because it's a wrong answer. So selected option I'm showing as I'm putting the color as red, colors dot red, and then for the correct option I will put it as green. One second. I will copy the style and will change the color to be green. Now let's see how our implementation is worked. Like from a long time I haven't checked the UI. X equals to 2 and slope equals to 2. Submit. Oh, I forgot to call this function, I guess. No, I have called. I haven't done the routing navigation. So let us go to router and register our this route, create this route. So I'll just copy this question route and will change it to mm, what was it, results route. And then we need to call the result screen here. So we need three parameters here: correct count, incorrect count, and wrong answers list. So we will also take this here. I will copy the parameters from the screen and will paste here. I will also copy this one because the parameters and constructor will be same, fields and constructor. So I just remove the super.key from here after copy. For the list, there will be a problem. I will show when we get the error. Here also I will change, copy paste, and will change this as results route and the path and name to be results. I'm not creating the variables for this as of now. We should for that, but let's continue. Yeah, results route. So now when we uh, try to restart, I will get an error like this, that list of string is not nullable and list of dynamic isn't. So what is it trying to say? That I am taking a list, but under the hood when it's creating the route for us, it it is not accepting a like non-nullable field for this. For the list it can't. There are some reason I can like show the generated file. If we go to find the results, yes. So here when we are taking the wrong answers list, one second. Yes. So when we this is the routes created, like the code created for us in the generated file app.router.g.dart. Here if you see, it is taking this from the state.uri, this state which we are also getting here core router state. So under the hood, it's taking it from the query parameters. From the state, it's getting the URI and then query parameters, and then it's trying to generate it with a non like question mark symbol. That's why it's giving us the error, because this will return me a list of uh, like what we say, nullable list of nullable. So but here we are expecting a type of list. So let us add a question mark over here, and if it's null, I will pass a default as this empty string, empty list. Now if I run, it's working. Now if I go to the quiz, it's still not 1 second. I missed to write this code here. Results route dot push with context. Context is not there. Um, I can use the I can pass the context from the screen, this widget, to this function, or either I can use this one, app router dot current context. You can go with anywhere. Like for this, we need to check it first and then use it, or for taking it from the function, we need to pass it from there. Either way we can go. There's no difference. And in the results route, we need to pass three parameters, which are correct count, incorrect count, and wrong answers list. So we don't really have this correct incorrect count, but we can get it from we have the correct options dot length, which is the all the options, and from there we can subtract the incorrect count. If I select the options, I have total questions 2, correct answers 2, and incorrect answers 0. So the list view is that's why not showing. Let me wrap it with a visibility, and in the visible I will add uh, wrong answers list dot length visible when it's less than 1, or it's empty. And in the replacement I will show a text centered child and text. You have scored full marks. Now let us select the first question as incorrect, for like x equals to 3. This one is correct. Now if I submit, there's some issue. Okay, actually I tried to pass the list of map, which I said previously that list of map is not, we can't pass it. So let me change it this bit. Instead of questions list directly, we are using the option text only, so question text only. So we'll just pass this one, list of string, instead of this, and we need to pass it in different parameters. So 1 second. Let us comment for this first this now so that we can complete the flow. It's already time. Yes, if you see total questions two, correct answers is one, and incorrect answers are one. So if we want to show all these details also, we can just pass this individually instead of this list of map. We can pass it as a list of questions, which is a list of string, then list of this three separately, list three list instead of one list. This was right now it was going as list of map of type string comma dynamic. Instead of this one, we need to pass list of string or list of any primitive data type can we can pass, but not map. Or either we can do that like uh, what we say model class. So we need to pass question text list and the selected options list, the correct options list. So this is it. Now we can also add paddings and make this more better UI. Did I missed something? Yeah, this is it. Let's check for this had only one question. So we can make this more interesting by whatever the logics are, but this is the main idea of integrating everything with in place. So I would like to conclude this project, and I will try to add more uh, conditions and features later on in this project, which will be there in the GitHub repo, not in the sessions, but I will do few more commits here so that it will be a good reference later on. And for now, I will like to take the queries if anyone has any queries.
Dear colleagues, if you have any questions, please you can ask Mr. Ayush, else we'll call it a day. And Mr. Ayush, the next session will start on 22nd, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So I would now request our esteemed colleagues, if you have any questions, you can ask him, or we will then, else we will call it a day. Okay, so Mr. Ayush, I think nobody's having any queries till now. So, okay, thank you again very much for the extra effort that you have put in today for the session. I hope we'll rejoin again on 22nd, and we will finish the all the sessions by 24.
Yes,
And I hope our colleagues will again join on 22nd, same time. We'll inform you in the group. If there is any changes, that will also be informed in the group. So thank you very much and good night. And thank you, Mr. Razak, and thank you, Mr. Ayush, for your extra effort that you have put in today. Thank you very much and good night.
yes. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.